Welcome back to Caps Hockey Review. Back with you again. 2 games to discuss. Playoff edition of the program. Games 2 and 3 against the Panthers. We'll break it all down. Caps Hockey Review. Let's go. And off we go, underway. Caps Hockey Review. Back with you again. 2 games to break down. A tough Game 2 loss. I'm going to adjust my camera just a smidgen here. A tough Game 2 loss for the Caps. Looked ugly. But they bounced back in Game 3. Now, Game 2. No Tom Wilson. That changes a lot for the Caps. I mean, he's a huge part of that top line with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov. He's obviously, we know he chips in offensively, but a lot of the body contact kind of stuff, him and Ovi both coming at you on the same line, that can be really scary for defenders getting that puck out of their own end. So it really changes the identity of this team a little bit because they're lacking a bit of a physical presence. They go out Game 2 and they bring in Brett Leason. Leason has been a really solid guy they could go to throughout the season when they were dealing with all the injuries and illness that I documented so well. This maybe was a curious move for me. We've seen Connor McMichael waiting. Laviolette has said before the playoffs, everybody that we have is who we want for this playoff push. We're not going to see a lot of black aces. We're not going to, at least early, we're not going to take guys away from Hershey for their playoff run just to have them sit up here. So with McMichael sitting already in Washington, they go out down and recall Brett Leason from Hershey. And the going thought behind it is that Wilson's a big guy, the big physical guy. That's not really Connor McMichael's game. And to get even more technical, Wilson's a right-handed shot. Connor McMichael is not. Axel Janssen Fjallby is not. Also waiting in Washington, Brett Leason is a right-handed shot. He's a big body. There's a little more comparable, I think, size-wise between the two. But I don't know. They were going for a physical edge, and that's how they're going to have to win this series. They're going to have to keep being physical on the Panthers, taking away that time and space, making it uncomfortable for these guys to stand around and make fancy moves with the puck. It's that simple. If you give these Panthers time and space, they're going to kill you. But take it away, make them uncomfortable, make them move their feet or move the puck. Good things will happen for you. They'll turn pucks over. They'll make bad decisions. That is how the Caps are going to play. And putting Leason in on that fourth line kind of plays to that identity. But you bump Garnet Hathaway up to the third. Garney has been a this has been a great year for him. Both doing his regular shutdown roles on that fourth line. He's had some scoring touch this year too, which has really helped this team out in difficult circumstances. I think if we had to peg somebody on that fourth line to score all these goals, I mean, maybe I'd look to Nick Dowd first, but Hathaway's had a fantastic season. So he gets the bump up. He gets the rub. He gets bumped up to this third line. But that fourth line is so good. I mean, part of what makes it so good is the chemistry between Hathaway and Nick Dowd. They've lost Carl Hagelin, who we'll get into in a little bit. We got some good news on the Hagelin front. And Johan Larsson has really kind of, come in and meshed with these guys really well. And taking Hathaway off that fourth line, I feel kind of takes away from it a little bit. So he bumps up to the third. Leason slots in on the fourth. I'm not going to say had a huge impact on the game. The Caps, I mean, they struggled to generate. They didn't really struggle to generate. Bobrovsky played extremely well for the Panthers. And the Caps, we've talked about it so much this season. I mean, the obvious story and the obvious highlight, or low light, I should say, for the Caps in Game 2 is goaltending. We've talked about it a lot. We've talked about, there's going to come a time in the season where veteran leadership and maybe somebody who's been there before would be extremely helpful, because what happens when one of your goalies gets killed in a playoff game, or when both of them get killed in the same series? Who do you turn to after that? Well, Vanecek had one of those games in Game 2. I felt the Panthers jumped our Caps early. We kind of figured that would happen. You're down 1-0. You lost Game 1 on home ice. You have to respond, and they did. But the Caps, at one point in that game, they have a power play, cut the Panther lead to 1. Things are looking good. The Caps are starting to feel good about themselves, starting to get the legs moving, get that momentum going. The Panthers go the other way and score another goal within 30 seconds. That is an absolute dagger. It's a deflator. Everything about that is something that we just can't have. And at this time of the year, I mean, when you need these saves the most, I mean, we pointed to a goal in Game 1, probably should have had, or a save that he probably should have had and didn't make, but the Caps won, so it all kind of comes out in the wash. But Game 2, that was obviously a completely different story. I mean, Vanecek just struggled. And the team in front of him, I mean, I won't sit here and pin all 5 goals on Vitek Vanecek, because they weren't all on him. But I think the timeliness of a couple of those ones that were, it's just a deflator for a team, because you go from, playing open and kind of playing a little more freely and having that confidence in the guy back there, and then when those saves aren't coming and it's just not going his way, that confidence goes away a little bit. And I think that's what happened in Game 2. So Samsonov comes in for the third period of Game 2, plays excellent. I mean, makes some saves, doesn't allow a goal. He was, I think, based on Laviolette standards and what he's been doing all year with the rotation, I think all of us as Caps fans who have been following the team all year and watching this team all year, we knew Sammy was going to get the net for Game 3. I can recall, some of the analysts on the panel pre-game intermission were somewhat puzzled by the decision by Laviolette. I know one of the commentators during Game 3 was as well. They made the point that you're tied in this series. It's 1-1. He has a bad game. You should go back to him, give him a chance to kind of redeem himself. And I can understand that train of thought. Don't take the guy out and just leave him hanging on this sour note of this bad game that he had. But also at the same time, with how Laviolette has handled goaltending all year, it made sense to turn to Sammy. I mean, I had talked before the playoffs about, it seems like, they're giving Sammy every opportunity to jump up and prove that he's the guy and, prove that he deserves the net for Game 1. He didn't do that, but he got his opportunity at the end of Game 2 and in Game 3. He was excellent. He was fantastic. And I'll get into it too. This is a layered thing. I mean, it's not just goaltending. It's how the team played in Game 3. Hockey is the ultimate team sport. I can't sit here and say that, Samsonov played excellent. I'm not taking any of that away. But the team in front of him played excellent as well. So it's a total effort. Samsonov made big saves at key moments, which are what you need to have success in the playoffs, and he made all the saves that he should have made. So he, that first one, I guess, all the saves he should have made. That one goal for the Panthers right off the rip in the first period, first 2 or 3 minutes, it's one of those long shots that finds a way through. That really, I think, for me at least, my train of thought was great. It's going to be like Game 2. The Panthers are just going to shell him all night. He's not going to be able to stop a damn thing. He did what good goaltenders have to do in hockey in general, but especially on the biggest stage. you have to move on to the next save. It's done. You can't do anything about it now, but what you can control is how you handle the next one, and that's exactly what he did. Let that one go and move on to the next save. That's a great sign of maturity for a young goalie. Getting off to a bad start and improving as the game moves along. So I'm very happy with the effort and the performance from Ilya Samsonov in Game 3, and I'm extremely ecstatic by the game as a whole for this team. Winning 2 playoff games in a series for the first time since 2019. Looking to string together consecutive playoff victories for the first time in 3 years. 3 years, this team has not won consecutive playoff games. So, this is a great chance for Washington. I'll say it. What they did that was so great, I believe, in Game 3. I mean, they scored a ton of goals. That's great. That always helps. But they were able to limit the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers are a team that center their offense around off the rush attack. And they generate a lot of their momentum that way. And the way you counter that, which is exactly what the Caps did, and they did it beautifully, strong on the back check from the forwards. Don't let your defenders get in a situation on the rush where they're outnumbered, whether it be 2-on-1, 3-on-2, whatever. Make it an even field. Those forwards have to come back fast. They have to take away that extra advantage. And a back-checking player is a great opportunity to intercept some of those lateral passes across the ice, too. The Caps did a great job of that. I remember one sequence Connor McMichael made, getting later in the game, the Caps hadn't really put it out of reach at that point. Great back check from him, getting a steal, intercepting a pass, and getting the puck out of the zone. That's what the Caps need to do. They need to weather the storm. The Panthers are going to get their zone time. They're going to get their shots. You just have to hold them to the outside. Don't give them those odd man opportunities, those rush opportunities, and keep them out of the middle of the ice. It's a huge ask. It is a huge ask. This is the highest scoring team in the NHL in the regular season. It's a ton to ask. You have John Carlson obviously knows what to do. He's been there. Orlov. But you also have, Marty Ferravari. He's played really well. For a young guy and getting not his first taste of playoff hockey, but his first taste of playoff hockey in this role. Top D pair. He's going to play a lot of big minutes with John Carlson. These guys have answered the bell. Defensively, they've been great. We need it to continue. And here's why. Winning the series, yes. But one thing I did notice at the end of Game 3 for Washington, they're frustrating these Panthers. And you can just see it starting to creep in a little bit. The Panthers aren't being able to, they're not able to do exactly what they want at will. They're not able to get those rush scoring opportunities. And that it's forcing them to change their game. We see teams in the playoffs all the time. They make adjustments. I would fully expect adjustments to be coming for the Panthers for Game 4. But that's the test. Can this team play a different way? They operated on that high-octane offense all season. Goals off the rush, goals, quick, back-to-back, 3 in a row, whatever. The Caps are forcing them to play a little bit more of a structured game. It suits the Caps. It might make for some more boring hockey, but slowing the game down, locking it up in the neutral zone, playing with more structure suits this Capitals team much better than it suits the Panthers. And if they can force the Panthers to play that more structured type approach, I think the Caps will be fine. That's a very long-winded way of saying that the Capitals, as long as they continue to take away those offensive chances from the Panthers off the rush and force them to get in the zone, actually set up and make their plays in the zone at 5-on-5, I think they have a good chance to win this series. And the other piece here of this, and I can't overstate the importance of this. I can't possibly overstate the importance of this. The Caps special teams have shown up, and the Panthers haven't. The Caps have cashed in on the power play when the chances have come. They've scored a power play goal in all 3 games so far. They need that to continue. Those power play opportunities are extremely important. They're extremely valuable against a team that scores so many goals. The opportunity to get them shorthanded and get some good looks at the net, you need to take advantage of those. You need to score. They've done that. But also the other side of the special teams, the penalty kill. The Panthers had the 5th best power play in the NHL in the regular season. The Caps have not allowed a power play goal in this series. That is huge, because we talk about generating momentum from power play success. You can equally generate momentum from penalty kill success. And they've done that. Excuse me. Game 3 was, I think, the perfect version and the perfect encapsulation of what this team has to do to beat this Panthers squad. And for the Caps, Game 4, we talked about Game 3 being pivotal. You got to come back and get a win. Game 4, if they can come out tomorrow night, Monday night, and get a win on home ice in Game 4, get these Caps faithful in a frenzy. Get them all excited for this team more than they are. You're headed back to Sunrise, Florida for Game 5 with an opportunity to eliminate the President's Trophy winners in 5 games. That's huge. And it's on the road. The Capitals are not supposed to win this series. Let me just be very, very clear with that. They are not supposed to win this series. Nobody has picked them to win this series. They are an extreme underdog against the President's Trophy winners. The President's Trophy winners, leading goal scorers in the NHL. They're young and they're ready to run. They've had a little bit of playoff experience, and now's the time for them to shoot for the stars. Young team, score a ton of goals, primed for success, President's Trophy winners. Where have we seen this before? How about 2009-10? Our Washington Capitals and what I believe would be a 24-year-old Alex Ovechkin led this absolute road show of a Capitals team. They scored every night. They scored 4 or 5 goals seemingly every night. They won the President's Trophy, most points in team history. You're going to the first round. You're playing the Montreal Canadiens, 8th seed. What happened? What happened? It was probably not the first, but the first big disappointment. They lost. They lost to that veteran-laden Montreal team. They were fast. They could score a ton of goals. But when it came time to play a structured game, they couldn't do it. And they ran into an extremely hot goalie in Yaroslav Halak. The Caps can be on the other side of that coin here. They are, of course, the old, seasoned group. This is a great chance to get on the right side of this story for the Caps. Nobody has picked them to win. Why not? Why not just blow everybody's playoff brackets to smithereens right now? Everybody's picking the Panthers to go to the finals. Blow it all to pieces right now. Washington, who knows what a series win here can do for the Caps, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I understand that. I'll stop there. Win Game 4 for this team. Win Game 4, you head on the road with a chance to clinch. The chance to clinch for the first time in 2 years. Their last chance to clinch came in a Game 7. That goes either way. The last time they had a chance to clinch in Game 5 was in Las Vegas. I can't say it enough. If the Caps can win Game 4, I have profound belief that they will win this series. I like their chances right now if they can build on how they've played, and if Samsonov can continue to play and build on how he played in Game 3. If they can win Game 4, I love their chances to get out of the first round this time. We'll see. I may be sitting here after Game 4 pulling a complete 180. I hope I'm not, but I am fully acknowledging that I might. So, speculation aside, hopes aside, history lessons aside, Game 4, it's the biggest game of the season, coming up Monday night. Some quick news and notes we'll jump to here before I say goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Gosh, where to start? I think we'll start with Carl Hagelin. Hagelin, we miss our boy. PK specialist, fourth line beauty. He's skating in full equipment. Hasn't taken a full contact practice yet. Another reason for the Caps to get out of this first round. You're more likely to get Wilson back, but also they may get Carl Hagelin back for a run if they can make a longer run here. So Hagelin, the news looks really good. At one point there was speculation if he would ever even play in the NHL again. And obviously it's looking like he will, and like he might play in this playoff run if they can sustain it. Wilson, the news is not so positive, has not skated yet. And if he's not skating, he's not playing. I'll say that, barring an interesting decision, but I just don't know if you can put him in a game without him skating in practice at full speed and with contact. That's gonna be tough. It's a tough blow. They had a couple games without him. Basically had 3 games without him. He played a minute and a half in Game 1. So definitely a blow to not have Tom Wilson. We'll have to wait and see. There are some rumblings from the Capitals, the fine folks at 106.7 The Fan in DC that cover the Capitals. There is a rumor from one of the hosts on that program that a little birdie has told him, he won't specify who the birdie is, who's blowing the whistle here, that Tom Wilson's injury is fairly significant and has pretty much eliminated him from this series and very possibly from the entire playoffs, regardless of how far they go. That would be a huge blow. And I think as it gets deeper in the playoffs, you're going to absolutely need a guy like Wilson. So let's hope that is not true. He's not necessarily standing by this by any means. It's just kind of a rumor that he's been told. So we'll wait and see. It kind of sucks on the injury front. It's a wait and see kind of game. Finally, some roster moves. The Caps call up goaltender Hunter Shepard from the Hershey Bears to be the number 3. They did that before Game 3. I don't know if the thought was, Shepard has had a strong year. He's played, majority of his season has been played in the ECHL for the East Carolina Stingrays. He's had some games in Hershey. He's played well. 917 save percentage in East Carolina, 922 for Hershey. Hasn't played for the Capitals except in preseason this year. I don't know. I'm guessing this is just a depth move, but coming before that Game 3, I don't know if the thinking is the kid's been good. He's not really a kid. He's about the same age as Vanacek and Samsonov, but if Sammy goes out in Game 3 and gets shelled, maybe they turn to him. Who knows? It's all speculation, but depth move, maybe you could see the ice if things in the net just really go down the drain in a hurry. Let's hope it doesn't happen. We'll do a quick wrap here. Caps. Two big things this team has to do. If they're going to have success in Game 4 and bring to life this awesome scenario where their chances to eliminate the President's Trophy winners in 5 games, if they're going to bring this scenario to life, that Game 4 win, if they can do in Game 4 what they did in Game 3, I have every belief they will win Game 5. I think if they can lock the Panthers up again, it will completely annihilate any confidence they have, and they will be second-guessing themselves, and it doesn't work. So, 2 things. Play the body, taking away that time and space, making it uncomfortable for the Panthers. Strong on the back check, strong on the forecheck, back check, paycheck, boys. We need it to happen. Strong on the back check, not giving them that time and space on the rush. Body contact, not letting them have time and space when they're trying to set up in the offensive zone. And the big key, Sammy has to be lights out. Panthers are going to come with a push. They're trying to get this series even before they head back to Sunrise for Game 5. They want it to be a best-of-3 series. For the Caps, forget that. Let's go for the throat here. Win Game 4. Hopefully they've still got some of that killer instinct from 2018 to bring out in Game 5. We'll wait and see. Going to be an interesting Game 4. I have no idea what way it's going to swing. If the Caps can do these things and continue playing the right way like they did in Game 3, I like their chances. We're going to find out tomorrow night. Monday night, I will be back with you to recap it, wrap it all up before Game 5. Let's hope we're sitting here talking about another victory. Until next time, my friends, go Caps.